Rising Divine Collective. So I was sitting here doing my pre-shuffle, just kind of getting into the groove of things this morning, and Spirit has confirmed something that I've known was true. But I know that a lot of you have also dealt with this because I put the story out not too long ago. Um, the story about how my partner's children, we took them into our home, right, over a year ago because, some things were going on at the other household. I won't put out there. Um, However, they were very serious things, Divine Collective. But while taking these children in, it was a challenge for me, right? Being an energy reader, um, keeping myself grounded and balanced, dealing with children who have come from a toxic home. It was just very challenging, right? To try and guide these children because of how they were raised, right? I understand, I get that. What I'm trying to say is I get that children are raised how their parents were raised. If you get what I'm saying, some of us take what we've been through and we do better, while some of us live with that trauma and it transfers over to our children. In this case, that's what happened with me. Allowing these children into my home, around my children, in my space, it was very challenging. But Spirit just confirmed something as I was sitting here with names and all, right? Names and all. I mean, the cards are right in front of me. Names and all, Divine Collective. But just confirming that if you're dealing with a situation like this and your intuition is picking up on something not quite right, Divine Collective, your intuition is absolutely correct. Okay, someone was projecting onto you, but this situation that I found myself in, I always knew that there was more to it, right? I felt like it was orchestrated from the get-go. However, I embraced the situation. I did what I had to do to guide these children. I love these children. However, I came to realize that I can't help everybody, right? I just couldn't. That was very hard for me to realize, to accept that I can't help everybody. And then I started to realize, Divine Collective, that this was not my karma, right? And if you're not healed, you'll think, oh, that's very selfish of you. This is your partner's children. However, Divine Collective, when you start to heal and you start to grow, your eyes start to open, okay? And I came to realize, hey, this is not my karma. This was meant to keep me stagnant, to keep me stuck. And that's when I really had to put my foot forward and say enough is enough. Okay, the situation came to, basically cause chaos and upheaval. And it may have made me look like the awful person in the picture to say, hey, no more. They have got to go, right? And I'm just being honest, they have got to go. Some things happened where I found some documents that one of the children had wrote, right? And they were very dark. And I was like, enough is enough. I've done enough, Divine Collective, in the situation, right? And I just can't help everybody. And again, you have to remember, Divine Collective, that things that happen like this is not your karma. I even told my partner, hey, you and her raised these children. I didn't. And I know that makes me sound very, to some of you, maybe selfish, right? But I have to be selfish, Divine Collective. If not, people will walk all over me, okay? So this was a situation that I was being tested in. Am I going to stand up for myself? Am I going to put my foot down? After everything that I had done, I had seen how these children were still very disrespectful. They were still lying on me, saying things that weren't true when they would go back and forth to the other parent's house just to feed into that other parent's delusion. So I said, enough is enough. Okay, whatever the consequences are, I'll handle it. Enough is enough. They gotta go, right? But it's been on my heart, right? I'm not going to sit here and say that I haven't thought about it. I haven't thought about the kids, because I have, right? But again, I have to keep reminding myself that this is not my fight to fight. I did all I could do. I was still being disrespected. These children, they were still very disrespectful towards me. They said some very bad lies on me, Divine Collective, okay? Telling the other parent things that I was doing that I wasn't doing. And I just won't get into all that. However, Spirit has confirmed that, someone in the storyline was absolutely projecting on me. The reason that these children got taken away in the first place was what this person was projecting onto my household, right? Because they were so disrespectful, I often found myself angry because I just couldn't understand all the love that I was showing, everything that I was giving. I was trying to guide. I just felt so disrespected, okay? So disrespected, Divine Collective, to a point where it would make me angry. And Spirit said that this specific person, okay, no names, but was projecting child abuse onto me, okay, so that I would turn into that person, Divine Collective. And I need you to really put your spiritual ears on here, okay, because I'm not an angry person. I don't abuse children. I love children, Divine Collective. I have 5 of my own, and each one of them will tell you that. I mean, they have me wrapped, right? They have me wrapped, but my children, they have respect. Okay, very good children, right? I mean, they're not perfect. All right, they get on my nerves, but they have me wrapped, Divine Collective. However, I found myself feeling emotions that I never felt before, and then Spirit is confirming in this moment how those feelings were not mine. This specific person was projecting onto me, Divine Collective. Now, do you see where I'm going with this? Do you see how the enemy orchestrates things to happen in your life to keep you stuck, to keep you stagnant, to ruin your reputation by sending people into your space? And at the time, you don't think of it like that because you're looking at children, right? You're looking at children and you're like, no way. But Spirit is confirming in this reading before me that, you know, someone was desperately trying to imitate me here. Okay, this person wanted to do a destiny swap. I picked up on Scorpio here. Okay, that was projecting onto me. I pulled this person's name specifically. Spirit said trust your intuition on here, and then I kept hearing child abuse, child abuse, child abuse. Okay, and because of I couldn't understand why these children were acting this way, but now I get it. Okay, I get it because this was all projections, you know, of her projecting herself onto me so that I would turn into that person and she could flip the script. Okay, take all the heat off of her, right? All right, so you have to understand that this is someone who these children were telling me, you know, my mom watches you and she curses at your videos. Divine Collective, this is black magic. Okay, I don't know this woman. I've had a couple encounters with her like a lot of years ago. My life has completely changed since then. Since the moment I arrived into the scene, I have been attacked by her, okay? So when someone is watching you and cursing at you and calling you names and telling you things like go to hell, understand this is black magic, okay? So for a long time, I have been dealing with this. And I wanted to share my story with you. Spirit is telling you or told me that you didn't deserve this, okay? But you have to be strong enough to stand up for yourself. And first and foremost, you have to be able to see through the veil. Okay, you have to be able to see through the veil. Spirit has also told me that this person has not learned their lessons. Okay, and things are really starting to get real for this person. Okay, they had an epiphany. They're about to lose everything.